Which brings us to Al and Hahn's Knicks Fix. Al Trautwig back on the Chase Bridge. He's in the Squarespace studio. All right, partner, let's get technical about last night.
Yes, well, let's begin with how we saw the interview that Bradley Beal had with Rebecca Harlow after the game, where he was talking about Lonzo and the respect he had for his game. Well, there's another young Knick player that earned some respect as well, and that was from Dwight Howard for Mitchell Robinson. And it actually started with this play right here early in the game. I mean, he goes for a three, and he blocks the three and takes it down. Dwight said, I was like, oh, man, okay. After that, I was like, I kind of like this guy. And Dwight Howard, it says he has a lot of potential. And you look on this play, if Mitchell Robinson didn't like this, he got a tech on this play. And Dwight Howard, we know, can relate to that for sure. And that begins the conversation now about a 20-year-old player who is showing emotion. That's his second tech of the season. And David Fizdale was asked about whether or not he has to control his emotions. And he said, you know, to be honest with you, I'd rather have to tone them down than amp them up. But there is one way, of course, that Mitchell Robinson can control his technicals, is the fact that he finds out that it's $2,000 is the fine. And a young player like that doesn't want to give up money that easily.
Meanwhile, what does Zach LaVine, who we'll see tonight, represent in a changing NBA?
Yeah, it's something Wally Szczerbiak has been talking about lately, and he said it last night on the postgame show, is that the NBA is getting younger, and you're seeing it with a lot more athletic players, and this next generation, this next wave of high draft picks that are trying to stake their claim on this league, and Zach LaVine's one of them. He had an injury-riddled season last year, came over in the trade from Jimmy Butler, and he is really turning into a very good scorer early in the season, averaging 26 a game. He's getting to the line. You're seeing how physical he can be. That turnaround jumper is really nice, and of course, we all know he can do this. He's won a slam dunk contest. You got to keep him in front. Uh-oh, Billy Erning Gomez. Yeah, so this is a guy who gets to the line, 7.7 free throw attempts per game. That's how he's getting his points. And you're seeing a changing of the guard in the East. Check it out. Blake Griffin leading the way. Joel Embiid, we know. Kemba Walker, we know. But LaVine is a guy from the Western Conference, just like Griffin. And Kawhi Leonard, of course, as well. And you do see Tim Hardaway Jr. right there among the East leading scorers.
All right, some quick hits around the NBA. To me, it looked like the Wizards cared a little bit last night.
You know what? This was that game that we said they had to win. In fact, when you talked to Alonzo Trier after the game, he said the same thing. He said you could see they really wanted this one bad. Markieff Morris also said no disrespect to the Knicks, but they're a young team that's still trying to figure it out. We're supposed to do that. Now, the Wizards started 1-7 this season. They also look back 2 years ago when they started 2-8, then went on to win 49 games and get to the second round of the playoffs. So there's no panic with that veteran team. But I got to tell you, Al, they are a weird team, aren't they?
Well, so are the Lakers. A lot of drama in Hollywood.
Yeah, it usually comes when LeBron James get there. So it starts with Tyronn Lue getting fired. It starts with Luke Walton now being on the hot seat. And I bring up Tyronn Lue because you wonder if he'd be next if Luke Walton is the next coach to go in the NBA. But you know, I got a question for you. Have you heard from LeVar Ball much this season?
Well, there was a rumor that the Lakers made a little bit of a behind-the-scenes push to get him to be quiet.
Yeah, all of a sudden, LeVar Ball is not making headlines. He's not saying a lot of stuff. You don't see him on TMZ. And that's because, according to a report in the LA Times, Magic Johnson actually threatened him. Now, reportedly said that if you keep acting up, we're going to trade Lonzo. And we all know LeVar loves having Lonzo on the Lakers, so it seems to be working, that's for sure.
What's up with this Cavaliers rookie situation, as if things couldn't get worse?
Yeah, exactly. So again, LeBron now goes to a team with drama. He leaves a team behind, more drama in Cleveland. Tyronn Lue is fired. You have now a situation where they're trying to play younger players. J.R. Smith wants out. He's asking for a trade. And then there's Colin Sexton, and this is a guy who they took in the lottery, and they're making him their starting point guard, and the veterans aren't happy with him. They think he really has a lot to learn. In fact, George Hill reportedly went to him and said, I'd like to mentor you, I can show you how to play, and Sexton kind of gave him the wave off, like, no, I'm all set. So there's some issues going on with that team for sure.
And in Minnesota, where Jimmy Butler asked to be traded, he has not yet been. He's in and out of the lineup. He's out, he's in. Tonight, apparently, he's going to play. What's the deal?
You know, it's funny. He wants a trade, he demands his trade, he creates the story, and then when reporters ask him about it, he says, I don't want to talk about it, which is hilarious. He's mad at reporters. He actually had a profanity-laced tirade towards reporters who were just simply asking him, are you going to sit out? Are you still demanding a trade? And he went off on the reporters. But when he has played, he's played really well because he wants to be traded. The Rockets certainly would love to have him. They offered 4 first-round picks. But the Timberwolves keep holding on to him, and that means more drama in Minnesota.
And it's always about the money. Your stat of the night is?
Now, speaking of the money, as I mentioned with Mitchell Robinson and the Tex, Lonzo Trier also drew a tech yesterday in that double tech he had with John Wall. Now, he's on a two-way, so it costs him even more. In fact, Bobby Marks of ESPN told us that Trier makes $4,700 per game, so a tech costs you by fine $2,000 for one game. So think about it. It cost him half a day's pay for one moment.
Wow.